have kind of had their negative traits amplified. Chica's, as the sort of prolific, not prolific, but like the epitomized, Genki girl who just has, she's the flighty but overly passionate leader. She's Honoka too. And while she's usually pretty goofy, she usually kind of plays off of Yo in that way. But you would still be able to have serious moments, heartfelt conversations, and show some amount of, intellectuality when she, actually thinks things over. She is still very much one to rush into things head first. But when she does give things thought, she actually does do the thinking thing relatively well. Well, or Torio Chica throws that out the window. Instead, she's just that, she lost she still has the passion. But her flightiness has been amplified. And her maturity has been halved, at best. Instead, now she's turned into, could best be described as a troll with ADHD. She's so flighty she can't focus on one thing for more than 30 seconds, unless that thing for some reason happens to be a tangerine. She's, I'm not sure if ignorance, oblivious, or just straight up deciding to ignore the information being presented to her most of the time. And the things that come out of her mouth are so sporadic and just seemingly lol random that it's almost impossible to follow along with what's going on. The only other character that you would know, or characters, I should say, Mari is kind of the same. The thing is, even in the original, she always had this sort of sporadic, almost ADHD nature to herself. And she was a little bit of a manipulator. Well, all of that got amplified. She's even more sporadic, more over the place, more arrogant. She was kind of before, but it was kind of a background part of her. Now it's like 60% of her character is just arrogance, and the other 40% is divided between...
Dust chicaned. Need to see it.
The other 40% is evenly divided between that sort of airheadedness, sheer horniness, and yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. This is definitely an 18 plus fic. But it doesn't lean into that all the time, but when it does. And most of it is just Mari being Mari. She's also
very
like
uncomfy. Anyways.
She's also way more of a prankster than she ever was. And the pranks that she plays are usually much more not malicious, but they're kind of, and that's kind of a word. They certainly have a little more, like, weight. I don't know. There's a word, I can't think of it. And then the last one of the characters that exist in the Challenge series are Ruby, who in the original is basically like her and her BFF Hanamaru kind of both have an even amount of Haneo and Rin built into them. They're the same sort of, first year besties combo that Rin and Haneo were. The difference is that now, they don't seem to just blend into the background.
Shit. Love hitting the brakes late and on top of that hooking a tire into the gravel. Not a good combo.
Nope. That's the murder.
It was almost death. Almost being the key word. I managed to bring it to a stop, but yeesh.
Between the two, Ruby was kind of like, she was the soft, squeaky, timid one, closer to Haneo than to Rin in that way. I guess it's really just that Ruby is the Haneo move, and Hanamaru, despite her name being so similar, is more like Rin. She somehow manages to be a nerd and a tomboy at the same time. She also has a verbal tick.
Don't we all?
Hers is a lot more noticeable. She ends the majority of her sentences with the enunciated "Zura" at the end of them. And if she ever speaks interjections, like "huh," for example, she would just replace it with that instead. Yeah, in the original Love Live Sunshine, Ruby was definitely the timid, quiet, not squeaky per se, but certainly a high-pitched, she was the child, I guess, the summer child. But Oratorio seems to operate off the assumption that somewhere along the way that innocence got completely crushed. And Ruby became not a rebellious kid, but certainly the one that's tired of living in her older sister's shadow. It's like the way that Tails' character arc goes in SA1 and 2, except much more exaggerated and a little more dramatic. I mean, she's literally the first character in the whole fanfic to drop the F word. For context, that'd pretty much be the equivalent of like 2018 me making a dick joke. Like, that just didn't happen. It still barely does. The reason I bring this up is because
5-star roulette ticket.
It's because as much as I do somewhat enjoy
756.